Beware of this fish. This big-mouth fish is a huge problem. It's gulping down a fish and taking over oceans. Lionfish. Boys and girls, please write your first name, last name, and date at the bottom of your Scholastic News. Hunters in the deep. As you read, think about why invasive species like lionfish are a problem. Deep in the ocean, a fierce hunter gobbles up tasty little fish. It gulps down critter after critter. It eats anything that fits in its mouth. It's not a huge toothy shark or a long scary squid. It's a striped fish that's only about as big as a football. It's called a lionfish, and it's taking over some ocean habitats. Lionfish takeover. Right now, you can find huge numbers of lionfish in the Atlantic Ocean near the United States. And that's a big problem. Why? Lionfish are native to oceans far from our country. They normally live in faraway oceans near Asia and Africa. The lionfish in the Atlantic Ocean are an invasive species. They came to a new place and caused harm there. How did they get there? No one knows for sure. Scientists think that people in the U.S. kept lionfish as pets. When the people got tired of the lionfish, they let them loose in the ocean. Now the lionfish are invading the ocean. They are taking it over. Unstoppable lionfish. Lionfish cause a lot of harm to the habitats they take over. They eat more than 70 different kinds of ocean animals, and lionfish keep eating even when they are full. They eat so much that there is not much food left for the other ocean animals. Lionfish are hard to stop. Not many animals can hunt and eat them. Lionfish have sharp spikes. When an animal touches a spike, the spike lets out venom. That's a poison that can hurt or even kill. And the number of lionfish keeps growing. Lionfish can have lots of babies. One female lionfish can lay 2 million eggs in a year. Wow. Living with lionfish. Scientists don't think we can get rid of the invasive lionfish. There are too many. And they swim in deep water where it's hard to get them. Some places hold contests to see who can catch the most lionfish. If the lionfish are cleaned and their spikes are removed, people can eat them. In other places, people train sharks to eat lionfish. Lionfish venom doesn't harm sharks like it harms other animals. Invasive lionfish may be here to stay, but scientists say that people can help keep other animals from becoming invasive species. People should not release their pets into the wild. That way, we can protect the native animals in their habitats. By Blair Rainford. Lionfish live near coral reefs in their native oceans. A Caribbean reef shark eats a lionfish. Chomp! So boys and girls, Susan Bauer talked about releasing pet turtles into ponds and how they can become invasive species by eating the food for the native turtles to the pond. It's the same thing with the ocean. Very interesting. Many invasive species live in the United States. This chart shows the lionfish and 2 other invasive species in the United States. So here we have 3 columns, one with animals, one with where it's native, and one that's why it's a problem. First we have the lionfish, and see how these 2 are blank, where it's native and why it's a problem? You need to go back into your Scholastic News, find out where the lionfish is native, and insert the information into this box. Then you need to find out why the lionfish is a problem and insert it into this box. If you notice down here, question 1 says, fill in the chart with the information you learned about the lionfish. Hint, use what you read on pages 2 and 3 of this magazine. Looking at the next animal in the chart, we have the Burmese python. It's native to parts of Asia, and why it's a problem is it eats native animals. Some of these animals are endangered. Ooh. The next animal is the giant African snail. It is native to parts of Africa, and it's a problem because it eats fruits and vegetables that people need for food. Interesting. So as I've already explained, question 1 is to finish filling in this chart using your Scholastic News. Question 2, where is the Burmese python native? Is it native to the United States, parts of Asia, or parts of Africa? So go up to your chart, find the row with Burmese python, and find where it's native to. Is it the United States, parts of Asia, or parts of Africa? Question 3. Which animal eats fruits and vegetables? Was it the lionfish, the Burmese python, or the giant African snail? Which animal eats fruits and vegetables? The lionfish, the Burmese python, or the giant African snail? Which animal eats endangered animals? The lionfish, the Burmese python, or the giant African snail? Which animal eats endangered animals? The lionfish, the Burmese python, or the giant African snail? Talk about it. What is one way the 3 animals in the chart are alike?
In the waters of the Atlantic Ocean, a fierce hunter chases little fish. It chases a tiny fish. It flares out its fins to look bigger and scarier. It stretches open its big, wide mouth and look! It swallows the fish whole. It does this again and again. It eats up all the little fish nearby. This striped hunter is a lionfish. It's a big problem, and not just for the fish it eats. It's a problem for the whole habitat it's in. That's because the lionfish is an invasive species. What is an invasive species? Every habitat has animals and plants that are native to it. That means they naturally grow and live there. A habitat full of native plants and animals is balanced. There's enough food and resources for everything in the habitat. But an invasive species like the lionfish can mess up a habitat. When an invasive species comes into a new habitat, it can cause a lot of harm to the native plants and animals there. Take the lionfish. It is native to the Pacific and Indian Oceans near Asia and Africa. But it is an invasive species in the Atlantic Ocean near the United States. The lionfish in the Atlantic Ocean eat a lot of the little native fish there. That harms big native fish because it leaves them less food to eat. An invasive species can affect plants too. In this habitat, those little fish eat seaweed that grows on coral reefs. With the little fish almost gone, the seaweed grows and grows and grows. That harms the coral reefs. Invasive species can be all kinds of animals. They can be reptiles, like the Burmese python. They can be insects, like the spotted lanternfly. Or mammals, like the nutria. They can even be plants, like kudzu. Invasive species aren't trying to take over their new habitats. Most of them arrive in their new homes by accident. Some invasive species end up on cargo ships that travel around the world. The people on the ships might not even know the invasive species are there. Other invasive species, like the lionfish, were probably brought here as pets. People released them into the wild, and they began to take over the habitat. Whether brought into a habitat by accident or not, invasive species can cause a lot of harm. What can we do about them? Well, once invasive species are here, they're hard to get rid of. So the best way to keep invasive species from taking over a habitat is to prevent them from coming in the first place. People shouldn't bring plants and animals to new habitats where they could become invasive. And you should never release your pets into the wild. Habitats have food and resources for the native species that live there. We can protect these habitats so everyone can get what they need.
What is one reason invasive species are a problem? Talk about it. See you soon.
Okay, boys and girls, please write your first name, last name, and date at the top line. You are going to need your Scholastic News to answer these questions. You're going to read parts of the article and answer a question. So, you are going to start reading and stop at Unstoppable Lionfish. Why shouldn't lionfish be in the Atlantic Ocean near the United States? Please use a full sentence. The lionfish should not be in the Atlantic Ocean near the United States because... Question 2. How do scientists think lionfish got to be in the ocean near the United States? Again, the lionfish got to be in the ocean near the United States. Question 3. Read Unstoppable Lionfish and then stop. What makes lionfish so harmful to the habitat? Lionfish are so harmful to the habitat because... Question 4. Read Living with lionfish, then stop. What is one solution for trying to control the amount of lionfish in the ocean? There were a few that were listed. Find one and write it down. Second thing, on the back, you are going to color by word. Color the picture by using the color key for each word. So for always, you're going to color it brown. For both, you're going to color it gray. For many, color it green. For there, you're going to color it blue. For which, you're coloring it pink. And for you're coloring it orange. For those that don't have a gray crayon, you could either color using a black crayon lightly or use your pencil. I can't wait to see the finished product.